Okay. Yay. All right, here we go. The cameras look pretty good. All right, I'm not messing with anything. Let me make sure that you guys can see I'm not cutting off my head. uh, so I've reached the age, God, I remember really saying this. So I've reached the age that I can no longer stay out past my bedtime and still function like a human early in the morning. So if you saw, we went to the Rays game last night, and that was a lot of fun. But we were up a little late. I don't think I got home until after midnight, which when's the last time I did that? I don't know about you guys, but it's been a minute. So anyway, if you saw the Facebook picture, it's this woman in an incredibly intense quad stretch, right? So we're going to focus on that, obviously. Where we go, of course, like I say, is always just kind of see what happens. And if you don't look like the person in the picture, that's fine because you are not the person in the picture, right? You are you, and your body does what it does. So we'll open up the chest as well into back bends to kind of get there as well. How deep your back bend is, again, is not super important. Stretching the muscles, making other muscles work is where we're going. So remember to I was going to say make it feel good, but that's not exactly accurate. So find sensation is really where I want to take that. So as long as you're experiencing sensation, that's where you're supposed to be. If you are experiencing pain, that is too far, right? Or if you can't breathe in something, that's the perfect sign to say that's too much, right? So finding sensation is the goal, and finding it in our quads is going to be where we're at primarily. But again, if you wanted to take it in a little bit different direction, focus somewhere else, that's totally fine as well. And you can even do that in these positions. So who's with me this morning? A couple over on YouTube. Morning, Sandy. It's got that bring them on camera thing going on again. And I was thinking about that as well, to maybe try and do just a day where everybody pops on camera just so we're kind of together. If you're local, I've been trying to think of maybe trying to get together and then do that over Facebook, because I know some of you guys aren't. And I know some of you guys watch this after the fact as well. So if that's the case, it is. But if you're interested in something like that, just give me a holler either here or an email or on the website or in class where you see me, wherever. So it's just a thought, and we'll work on that some more. So we're going to start in this wonderful Virasana pose. So if this is not a good place for you, you're going to want one of these. If you can practice where you are near a wall, we're going to go to the wall a little bit later. You can still get the same stretch you can get a similar stretch without the wall, but it can be a little bit more intense at the wall. So if you do have access, just kind of keep that in mind for a little bit later. All right, so let's go ahead and come to the mat. And again, we're going to start in that Virasana position. So this can be a little bit intense, not just your quads, but also on your knees. So if your knees are telling you not to do something, listen to your knees. If your quads are complaining, right, they're just maybe not that flexible, which is totally fine, use a block, right? Or a blanket, or even you can probably use a bolster. I don't know how that would feel across the backs of your ankles or calves there, but the block fits nicely between your feet so you can sit up a little bit higher. And the higher the hips are from the knees, the less intense the bend in the knee is. So play with that, and if it works out, prop up. If you don't need to prop up, just sit, and you can sit on your heels, or if you're just very flexible naturally, you can actually open up your feet and sit between your feet. But listen to your body. It is very early, so So let's just start where you're feeling enough sensation, right? So the idea is to keep the pelvis upright always. And then engage the belly, so lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up, tall through your sides. Soft through the upper belly, relaxed into the shoulders, feeling your ears over your shoulders. So the neck and head are properly aligned. Go ahead and close your eyes here. And again, just take a second and notice places where you feel sensation and where it's maybe too uncomfortable, bordering on that pain place. We don't want pain. Allowing the awareness to move to your breath. Breathing all through the nose as you gradually expand into each breath. And remember, as much as we focus on the inhalation, focus on the exhalation too. So as the inhales get bigger, the exhales have to get a little bigger. And just for a moment here, work to a place, the maximum, right? So the inhale is as big as it can be, and then your exhales are as complete as they can be. Take just a couple more of those enormous breaths. And then we're going to find somewhere in the middle. So it's just beyond comfortable enough that you have to pay attention to it, but not so much that you can't do anything else. And that's where we want to keep the breath as we extend the arms out to the sides. With an inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. We'll do it again. One more time like that. And then nice and easy here, go ahead and make your way into an all fours position. So moving the block out of the way, or whatever prop you used, if you used a prop. Coming into tabletop, make sure the belly's still supporting the lower back. And we're just gonna move through some cat-cows, of course, here, inhaling the belly low. And then exhaling as you round your spine toward the ceiling. In and out like that. Let's go once more in each direction. And then find a center. So nice long spine here. We're gonna go ahead and extend the right leg straight back. Pressing through the heel. Make that leg straight and strong. It may not be quite hip height, but make it straight and strong as if you're standing on it still. Toes are pointing toward the floor. From here, extend the left arm forward. Use your belly to hold the body here. Make sure you're still breathing. And we'll release that down. Moving to the second side, same idea, left leg. Press through the heel, flex the foot firm. When you're ready, we add the right arm. And then release that side. So we're gonna go back to that first side again. We're gonna work the right leg and left arm out. Reach away from the body. And then keep that idea, take the arm over to the left, bring the leg around to the right, still reaching away from the body. So the fingertips over to the left and the heel over to the right, you're breathing. And then release the hand to the floor, take your toes over to the side here, and come up on the knee. So if your knee needs a little cushion, give it cushion. Heel in line with the hip here. Let's inhale, stretching the left arm up and over. Opening up the left side of the body. And then coming back up to the top here. Release the hands. And I'm gonna invoke Jane Fonda, right? So that makes me old. Belly is in, engaging into the four corners of the hands. Lift the toes up off the floor. And then take them down and just tap. Lift. And then tap. Lift. Tap one more time. Lifting the leg. Take it back and down. So let's go second side. Same idea. Left leg, right arm. Reaching away from the body as we take it out to the sides. Take the hand to the mat. We're taking the toes to the floor, coming up on the right knee, adjusting anything that isn't exactly as you want it here. Extend the right arm up, take it over the outside of the leg. With an inhale, we're going to make our way back up to the top. Release the hands. And then we'll do it here. Lifting the leg, tap the toe to the floor. And then lift, and tap. Lift. Tap one more time. And then back up, take it back and down. So when we're here, we're going to extend the right leg and left arm one more time. This time, bend at the knee, reach around and find your foot. So you can kind of cheat. If you bring the heel over to the left hip, it's easier to find, right? But then you got to straighten back up again, of course. So the knee's pointing at the floor. You can press the foot into the hand and get a little bit more shoulder stretch. You can pull the heel a little bit more toward the glute to get a little bit more quad stretch. So play with that. Find a middle maybe. And then let's release long. And come down, all fours. Moving to the second side, same idea. Leg, right arm, when you're ready, the knee bends. And you find the foot here. So again, if you bring the heel closer to the foot closer to your hand, it might be easier. And then you find the stretch. We're going to release that side, stretch out. Come on down on the floors. And then let's go ahead and sit back into a child's pose for just a couple of breaths here. So we've got one more on the hands and knees. We're going to come up into all fours again. And let's take a twist here. So left hand palm up, waves underneath. So you can drop down to your elbow, little baby twist. Or you can continue to reach over and drop down to your shoulder, little deeper twist. Make sure you're not leaning on your head, right? We want the body weight to be on the shoulder and the knees, of course. And you can take it a little bit more intense by using the floor. So pressing against the left arm, pressing against
the right fingertips. So then we're gonna play with that quad stretch here. So let's set the legs up first. Lifting the right knee away from the floor. See if you can lift your right toes away from the floor. Bend the knee. Use your belly here. See if you can take your right hand and find your right foot. So maybe yes, maybe no, maybe you're still up on your shoulder, finding just a little bit of quad stretch here. And then gently releasing the leg. Making your way back into that all fours position again.
And then moving to the second side. So right hand, leading up. Maybe just down to the elbow, that feels good for a second. You can stick there and then move, or wherever you're going with it. Dropping down as long as the head and neck are comfortable. Again, not leaning on your head. Okay. How deep you take the twist is entirely up to you. But then let's add the leg. So stepping the left foot back, lifting the toes, and bending at the knee. So get most of the movement out of the way so the balance isn't so challenging. Make sure the belly is pulled in. I know that sounds crazy, but see if you can then take your left hand and find your foot. One more breath. And then gently release. Back into all fours. And then go ahead and drop back into your child's pose again. So one more breath in child's pose. And then let's lift up into down dog. Wiggle and stretch. Just because. And settling in here. So pressing the chest back, the arm or the head hangs between the arms. Sink into your heels, feel that nice stretch in the backs of the calves there. And then keep the hands firmly rooted here. We're gonna come up on the toes and drop the heels over to the left. So the right hand might wanna get light, but press down really firmly anyway. And then back to the center, over to the second side. And then back to the middle again. So keeping everything else as you have it, go ahead and lift the right leg. Press through the heel. And then open up the right hip. Bending at the knee. See about peeking over your left shoulder without letting it droop. And maybe you can see your toes over there. And sometimes if you wiggle them, you can see them out of the corner of your eye. Release that side. And we'll switch. So lift the left leg. Press through the heels. Open up the hip. And then bend at the knee. So work to keep the shoulders level. The left one wants to lift a little bit so we can get over there deeper, but make it just about the hips here, and maybe you see your toes over to the right or not. And then release that. But slide forward into a plank. Extend through your heels, extend through the crown of your head, find the shoulders neutral on the back. Drop down to the knees. Keep the chest open, bend halfway down, and then all the way down to the belly.
Hands are next to the side ribs here. We want to hug our elbows toward each other. We're just going to roll our shoulders. So with the breath, on an inhale, roll them up by your ears, together on your back, down towards your hip bones, exhaling, release. So just a nice shoulder roll. Maybe deepening as you go. Try to make it more about your shoulders and chest than your arms just now. We will add that on in just a little bit. Once more like that. And then just releasing. Make sure your belly's pulled in here, elbows are hugging in toward the sides. We're gonna lift up, back to our kneeling plank. And from here, take your left foot over to the left side of your mat, that knee stays on the floor, and we're gonna open up into our side plank here. So just a modified side plank. If you're just dying for a full side plank, feel free to take that. Right? But we're adding on, so maybe not, right? 4 corners of that left foot, that's a hand, even into the mat. Belly's in. How about lifting the right leg? How about bending the knee and finding the foot here? So again, here you can do a number of things. You can pull the heel closer to the hip. You can kick the foot away, opening up the shoulder. Take one more breath. And then release that back into your kneeling plank. Go to the second side, same idea. So the right foot to the right, opening the body to the left. Kind of checking in with where you need to be and modifying it if you're not comfortable here for whatever reason. So lifting the left foot, maybe bending at the knee, maybe finding your foot over here. Take one more breath. And then release what you got. Back into your kneeling plank, and all the way back into that child's pose again. So let's come back to down dog. We're gonna lift the right leg again. This time, stepping the foot through to the hands, come to lunge. So back knee to the floor to begin. Let's take the right leg straight. Shoulders down and back so the chest is open. And then bend into the knee again here. Let the hips come forward. Sinking low without letting the hips shift around. Keep it nice and square. And then straight again. See if maybe you can find a little bit deeper hamstring stretch. And then again here, go ahead and bend. Sinking the hips nice and low. And then leave the hips low, climb up on the thigh. So you're gonna start to feel a bigger pull in the left hip flexor there. Leave the hips really low. The more you lift the chest, the bigger the stretch is. And you can hang on, certainly, or you can extend the arms maybe alongside the ears. Again, continue to let your hips descend. And then let's release that. Stepping ourselves back into down dog. And then let's switch sides. So lifting the left leg, stepping that foot through to the hands, right knee to the floor. When you're ready, take the left leg straight. So nice little hamstring stretch. Or just deep hamstring stretch if that's where you are already. And then bending into the knee. Let the hips come low. So again, focusing on keeping the pelvis square and just deepening the stretch until you feel a nice pull in through that right hip flexor down to the quad. And you may feel it other places as well. We'll go ahead and take the leg straight again. And then one more time, let's bend. Leave the hips really low, sink into a little bit deeper if you can, again, without shifting, right? The body will go deeper if you sort of let it shift over to the side, but as much as possible, keep it squared and then climb up. Keep them low as you lift the chest. Finding the intensity that's right, but that's enough. Hang on, lift the arms. You can interlace behind your back or any other fancy thing with the upper body if that's what you want to play with. And then we're going to release it. Stepping back to our down dog. From here, let's step forward into standing fold. Feet up underneath the hip bones here. And then sliding the hands up to the thighs. You can slide them up to the hips unless you need the support. If you need the support, leave them down on the thighs. We're going to come halfway up, holding in the middle here. So make sure your shoulders are back, your belly is in. And then hinging all the way up. And releasing the arms here. We're going to take some sun salutes, and we're going to slow them down when we get down into, say, cobra, right? So if that's your cue word. And we're going to play in that position just a little bit, just to kind of get the upper body comparable to where we are with our lower body, right? So here we go. Make sure you're connected to your breath. Inhale, stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale as you take yourself over into a fold. Inhale and come halfway up. Exhale, we'll step back into our plank. Drop down to the knees if you like. Take it down to the belly. And then we're going to pause for a second. So the first place we're going to play is in Sphinx. So bring your elbows up underneath your shoulders. And the forearms are parallel to each other here. Push down, lifting the chest more. If you're feeling anything in your lower back, tuck your tailbone. Imagine pulling like you're pulling your belly button between your elbows. So the shoulders are open, or the chest is open. And in your head, plant the picture of what your shoulder blades look like. Releasing that. Hands back next to the side ribs. Press up and back into down dog. And then inhale, step your feet forward, back into the fold again. Next inhale, halfway up. And back over. Come all the way up, reaching to the ceiling. And then exhale, release it. So let's go like that again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Exhale back to your plank. Knees, if you like, down to the belly. So again, here we're hitting that pause button. Hands are next to the side ribs here. We're gonna hug the elbows, just like we did before, roll your shoulders. So in your head, see if you can get your shoulder blades somewhere near where they were when we were in Sphinx. So that idea of pulling and pressing might work. Keep the elbows in, the chest is open, wherever you are, you can breathe, right? And then release that. Up and back, down dog. Inhaling as we step forward into fold. Halfway up. Exhale over. And then all the way to the ceiling. And release. So you got those two variations as far as the upper body goes. You can work a little deeper if you want to work a little deeper. We'll cue that in just a little second here. But we are going to kind of play with it still, so it'll be at that little bit slower portion. So here as we begin, with an inhale, tuck your tailbone, pull your shoulder blades together on your back, reach behind you a little bit. Little baby back bend. Exhaling, release that, come into your folding egg. Halfway up, inhale. Exhale back to plank and down to the belly. So again, you can play with Sphinx, you can play with your Cobra here. Hug the elbows, roll the shoulders, pull with the hands. As you maybe move deeper, see if you can take the arms a little straighter. They shouldn't be straight, right? Not locked like that. So just a little bit of a bend and then release. Up and back, down dog. With the inhale, the right foot's gonna step forward this time. Work your toes to your fingers. You can drop the back knee or the back heel. We're gonna lift the upper body, inhale. Exhale back down, step back to your down dog. Inhale, slide forward to plank. And exhale to the belly. Again here, choosing where you wanna be. So maybe it's just a little shoulder roll, maybe it's a pull, maybe it's a press. Maybe your arms are almost straight and your thighs lift up off the floor. Release that. Back to down dog. And then the left foot's gonna step forward. Heel or knee to the mat back there, lifting of the upper body, and then coming back down again. So you got one more. Inhaling as we shift forward. Exhale down to the belly. And then again here, you decide how open. Release what you got, make your way up and back to down dog. And then hold here or drop into child's pose. Check out your breath. Make sure you're doing what's right for you. Taking one more breath where you are. And if you drop down, lift back to down dog. With an inhale, we're gonna step the feet forward, come back into standing fold, toes to fingers. Halfway up, and then back over again. All the way up, tuck the tailbone, put the shoulder blades together, lift your chest, reach behind, and then release that. All right, so enough of those sun salutes here. Let's take a nice big step back with the right foot. Working toward warrior two here. So left toes point forward, right toes are cut in a bit. We're gonna bend into the knee, look for the big toe. Sinking into the hips as low as they'll go here. Keeping them level. So if you feel like you're kicking up, put it back down. Extend the arms. Let's go ahead and then bend the left arm. Rest the forearm on the thigh here. Right arm up and over the ear. Drawing the shoulder back. Maybe descending into the hips a little bit.
And then we're gonna release that and come over into a lunge. So up on the back toes here, bringing the right hip forward. Let's take the left leg straighter. So maybe not quite straight, maybe you still want to prop. Yeah. And then we're going to bend back into the knee here. Instead of just dropping your back knee to the floor, let's roll forward over those toes and then take the right knee to the mat. Right? So your heel and ankle are going to, heel and knee are going to be a little bit closer together. So then we descend into the hips again here. Keep descending your left heel toward the floor. Feel that nice stretch. Stay low with the hips, just like we did. Lift the upper body. And if you find you do kind of back up a little bit, see if you can sink back down. And you can lean like crazy into this left leg. You can press away a little bit more. Shoulders down and back. Imagine lifting your chest up toward the ceiling. Keep descending into your hips. Your arms can be wherever you want them to be. Take one more breath. And then gently release. So you gotta roll back over the back toes into lunge. And we'll step forward into fold. Hang out for a second here and just kind of assess how you're feeling, what's going on from one side to the other. Let's take a little bend into the knees with an inhale. Roll on up. Standing tall again. So we're going to take our second side. Stepping back, nice big step with the left foot. Check out your toes. Make sure they're doing what you think they are. Bending into the knees, stacking the knee over the ankle. Hips are level and descending wherever they'll go. The arms can extend. Bending the right arm, rest the forearm, left arm up and over. And then release it over to lunge. Up on those back toes. And then the right leg straight. So same idea here, prop if you feel like you need. You can always drop the back knee. And then we'll bend the right knee. Roll forward over the left toes and bring the left knee to the floor. So start to sink, right? Descend into your hips evenly. Descend into this right heel. And then you begin to lift your chest a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Maybe you press against the thigh, lift a little bit more. So you can use the arms to kind of press away and increase the stretch, or you can use the arms as extra body weight in the opposite direction. Right? So just sort of play with that. Find enough sensation. One more big breath. With the inhale, we're going to make our way back up, release the hands, roll over the back toes. And this time, step back to a down dog. Drop on down to the knees and go ahead and take a little break in your child's pose. How are we doing? So let's come back to down dog. Walk the feet forward into a standing fold. And with an inhale again, let's roll up through the spine. Back to our standing pose. So we're gonna take standing balance. We're gonna work with dancer here. So if to find the quad stretch, you need a little love by standing near the wall, that's totally fine. That's not the wall work that I was talking about earlier, but it'll work, right? So we wanna get the quad stretch. Taking all the way over into the left foot, bend the right knee, and then the right hand finds the foot. So whatever you have to do to find it, right? It might go all sideways and whatever, but once you've found the foot, point the knee at the floor. Okay, so you're getting your quad stretch. You can add by pulling the heel in more, or you can add by kicking the foot back. So you're gonna get some back bend there too with the upper back, okay? But see if you can primarily feel it in the hip flexor and your right quad. So your left hand can extend up toward the ceiling if you want. You can add a little forward fold a bit here, but a lot of times that right knee will sort of drop in and then you lose your stretch, right? So if the upper body comes forward, the toes have to lift higher. We're gonna take one more breath. And then hinge up. And release the foot. Let's go to the second side. Taking all the way over into the right foot. Bend the left knee. And then the left hand finds the foot. So again here, use the wall if you need to help. So we can find that quad stretch, work with the balance here. And you decide how much more do you need. Are you feeling it already? Push the foot back. Extend the arm, hinge forward, or not. Gently hinging back up. And then releasing the foot. So let's inhale, stretch the arms toward the ceiling. Nice and easy here. Bring yourself gently into a forward fold. Step it back to down dog. And then we'll drop on down into a child's pose. So come to sit up on the heels. And this is where if you have a wall, we're gonna use the wall. And I feel like I'm kind of far away from you guys, but I think it's just gonna have to do. I wanna move on out. So, go ahead, if you have a wall, if you don't have a wall, I'll kind of cue you through that as well. But if you have a wall, place your mat short edge to the wall. Okay. We're gonna be on the top of the knee at the baseboard. So if you know that's gonna be an issue, if you don't have carpeting or something like me, you can give yourself an extra thickness or two of mat right at the baseboard. So from there, okay, we're gonna come into just an all fours, okay, and then bring your left knee to the floor right at the baseboard. So your shin is up the wall. And essentially, if you don't have a wall, you're just gonna have to use your own body. So you'd be kind of maybe in this position, right? So then either way, see if you can step your right foot forward. So when you have the wall as leverage against the leg moving, it's just a little easier, that's all. You can stay where you are, or you can climb up on the thigh. So if you don't have a wall, you're gonna use your left hand to find your foot. The more you descend into your hips, the more you're going to feel the stretch that direction. So descend. And then gently release all of that. Make your way back into your all fours. It's not graceful, but it's a crazy intense stretch. So going to the second side, take the right knee to the baseboard in the shin up the wall, or just bend your knees so it's up more. Step the left foot forward, come into that sort of lunge-ish place. And then descend into your hips. See about climbing up on the thigh. Ooh. Find sensation. And then release it. So back into the all fours position. We're going to take one more variation on that same idea. So from here, take the left knee to the baseboard, or just again, bending at the knee and grabbing the foot. So all the way down there, shin is pointing up, right? Not crooked or anything. Step the right foot forward, back into that lunge idea. And in this time, instead of sinking your hips low, climb up and see if you can sit your hips back toward the wall. And maybe they don't come anywhere near the wall. It's what it is. And then release that side. And this is the last time. So let's do it. Right knee to the baseboard, or just bend at that knee so you can grab your foot. Step the left foot forward. Climb up. And bring the hips toward the wall. One more big breath. Gently releasing what you got. Making your way back into that all fours position. Go ahead and, if you can, if you're in the position to do so, give yourself a down dog. Let the legs stretch, you can wiggle, shift, whatever you gotta do. If you need to move your mat, go ahead and move your mat, and then take your down dog. Beef. Beef. Just let yourself wiggle and stretch a little bit there. Drop on down to the knees. Sit back in a child's pose for just a couple breaths. And then go ahead and slide forward from there out onto your belly. Here. All right, so down on the belly here, we're gonna prop the upper body into that Sphinx position again. Right, so just like we were before. Making sure that your lower back is long, so again, kind of turning the tailbone toward the heels if you're feeling anything tight back there. And then same idea with the upper body. Press into the floor. Imagine pulling like you're pulling your belly button forward. I like to shift my left hand a little bit, so that's entirely up to you. You can leave it where it is. You can turn it sideways a little bit. Whatever makes you feel most stable. Bend the right knee. And the right hand finds the foot. Maybe. Ground the pelvis again. And again, you can pull down. Or you can press back. Lifting the upper body more. If you'd like here even, you can press into the left fingertips, and lift the left elbow. Take one more breath. Gently release what you got, all the way down to the belly. And then we're going to work the second side. So popping back up onto the forearms. And again, you're just feeling like you're aligned. Press down, pull. And then, like I said, I like to change my right hand a little bit. Bending the left knee, left hand finds the foot. Ground the pelvis, make sure that left hip is on the floor. And then you decide where to go from there. Whether you pull down, you push back, you lift the chest. And then release. Coming all the way down, turn the toes to point toward each other back there. Rest your head on a little pillow of your hands, and maybe just rock a little bit side to side on the hips. Coming center again. Roll over onto your belly. Your back. Roll over onto your back. And then just find a neutral position for your spine. Feel even across your hips, shoulders, and the natural curves of your spine. And see for a moment if you can simply release into the floor. Your legs can be bent or extended, whatever is better for your body right now. And then from there, feet flat to the floor if they're not already. Extend the right leg up toward the ceiling. Hang on behind the thigh. Keeping the spine as neutral as you can. Exhale, pull that right leg in a little bit. And then inhale, release a little bit. So gently in, out. And more than worrying about where the hamstring is exactly, think about where the spine is. We're just trying to kind of re-neutralize the spine, kind of into the back bend a little bit. Let's go once more like that. And then release the right foot. Take the second side, lifting the left leg, interlacing the fingers, and just that gentle little in and out. One more time like that. And then releasing the left foot. We'll open the arms. And you can adjust here if you feel like you need to adjust. Otherwise, just let your legs fall over to the right. Flop them to the side. And then we'll come back to the center and switch, flop them over to the left.
We'll come back up to the middle. Making sure that the spine is aligned again here, go ahead and draw your knees into your chest and rock. And then squeeze the knees in as tight as you can. Pull your forehead towards your knees. Let your spine round. Release it out into a full body stretch. And then release that stretch and bring your arms back down by your sides. Take a moment or two here to get comfortable. Prop, of course, if you need to prop. And when you've found that place, let your muscles release. Feeling heavy into the mat. And then bringing your awareness back slowly to your breath. And instead of controlling it, see if you can simply observe. Watching as it flows in and out. Keeping the mind present, quiet, and relaxed. So sorry about that. Allow yourself to gently wiggle and stretch. When you're ready, bringing yourself up into a seated position.
sitting well, and bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. I had a weird little premonition about something like that happening when I thought it was going to be the kid that mows my lawn. Sorry about that. Sometimes things like that happen. So hopefully that didn't disturb your peace too much. If you need to go back to it just for a few more minutes, feel free to do that. Have a great weekend. I don't know, anything fun happening? Right. Well, it looks like it's pretty outside, so if you can go outside and play, go outside and play. Yeah, holler at me if you want to participate in something where we're kind of virtually together. And yeah, that's all I got for today. All right, thanks, guys. Like I said, enjoy your weekend.